14 Circle of Leadership. It is about protecting vision and building people who carry the vision. Presented by ODC Global Consultancy Limited. Introduction. One of the greatest mistakes modern leaders make is believing that leadership is about making everybody comfortable. Many people step into positions of authority thinking their responsibility is to keep everyone happy, avoid conflict, and maintain temporary peace inside the organization. Over time, this mindset weakens companies, destroys standards, and creates environments where mediocrity quietly becomes normal. Leadership was never designed to function that way. Leadership is not emotional management. Leadership is responsibility. It is the burden of carrying vision while making difficult decisions that protect the future of the organization even when those decisions are unpopular. 1. Leadership must protect organizational culture. As I grew through business, leadership, and workforce development, I realized something very important. Organizations rarely collapse because of lack of opportunity. Most organizations collapse because leaders tolerate behaviors that slowly poison the culture. Businesses do not fail overnight. Decline happens gradually. It begins when standards are lowered to avoid offending people. It begins when excuses become acceptable. It begins when leadership confuses sympathy with discipline. Eventually, the organization loses momentum. Accountability disappears. Serious workers become frustrated, and vision begins to weaken from inside. Key leadership lesson. What leaders tolerate today becomes organizational culture tomorrow. Then, understanding different types of employees. And the minimum effort employee. I have worked with many different kinds of employees throughout my journey. Some people are always punctual but contribute only the minimum effort required to survive. They follow instructions mechanically, avoid initiative, and never push themselves beyond basic expectations. While they may appear reliable on the surface, organizations are never transformed by people who only do enough to remain employed. Growth requires people who think beyond tasks and understand ownership. The strongest employees are not those who simply complete assignments. They are the people who care deeply about the success of the vision itself. Leadership reflection. Ownership creates growth, mere attendance does not. Bade, the constant complainer. I have also encountered employees who constantly complain about management, systems, pressure, deadlines, responsibilities, or organizational structure. They criticize everything yet rarely provide practical solutions. One of the dangerous things about constant negativity is that it spreads quickly inside a workforce. Complaining is contagious. When leadership allows an environment where excuses and negativity dominate conversations, productivity begins to decline because emotional energy is being consumed by problems instead of solutions. Serious organizations cannot grow inside cultures where people are more committed to complaining than improving. Leadership reflection. Every complaint should either produce a solution or become a distraction. Jade, the idea generator without execution. Another category of people I have observed are individuals with brilliant ideas but no execution. These people can speak intelligently during meetings, contribute exciting concepts, and impress everyone with vision and creativity, yet nothing ever moves after the conversation ends. Over time, I learned that ideas alone mean very little in business. Everybody has ideas. What separates successful organizations from unsuccessful ones is execution. Vision without movement produces frustration. Intelligence without discipline produces wasted potential. The marketplace does not reward intentions, it rewards results. Leadership reflection. Execution is the bridge between vision and results. 3. The danger of talented but toxic employees. One of the hardest leadership lessons I learned was understanding the danger of talented but toxic people. Many organizations make the mistake of protecting individuals simply because they are gifted or highly productive. These employees may deliver numbers, generate revenue, or possess unique skills, but their behavior damages the environment around them. They create division, spread ego, undermine teamwork, disrespect leadership, and slowly weaken the unity of the organization. Leaders sometimes tolerate these people because they fear losing talent. However, what many leaders fail to understand is that toxic behavior spreads faster than excellence. One toxic employee can damage the morale of 10 committed workers. The long-term cost of protecting toxic talent is usually greater than the short-term value they produce. Leadership reflection. Character sustains organizations longer than talent. 4. The high cost of ego. That is why I strongly believe that ego is extremely expensive in business. Once ego becomes stronger than mission, collaboration begins to die. Organizations become political instead of productive. People begin protecting personal pride instead of protecting vision. Great organizations are not built around personalities. They are built around principles, discipline, shared accountability, and collective commitment to the mission. Leadership reflection. When ego rises, mission suffers. 5. Leadership is also about developing people. At the same time, leadership is not simply about firing people whenever they struggle. One of the responsibilities of mature leadership is understanding the difference between inability and unwillingness. Some employees are not yet excellent because they lack experience, confidence, mentorship, or structure. Some people are slow learners but extremely hungry to improve. Those people deserve investment, development, patience, and training. A wise leader understands that many strong professionals are created through consistent guidance over time. Leadership is not only about identifying talent, it is also about building people. Leadership reflection. Great leaders do not only discover talent, they develop it. 6. The importance of accountability. However, there is another category of employees who repeatedly make the same mistakes while constantly changing their excuses. Every missed target has a reason. Every failed responsibility becomes somebody else's fault. Every correction turns into defensiveness instead of growth. Over time, these patterns become dangerous because they normalize responsibility within the workforce. Accountability is one of the foundations of organizational strength. Once accountability disappears, discipline collapses. Once discipline collapses, execution weakens. Once execution weakens, vision begins to die slowly. Leadership reflection. Excuses weaken organizations. Accountability strengthens them. 7. The value of loyal disagreement. One of the things I have learned to appreciate in leadership is private disagreement from loyal people. Weak leaders fear disagreement because they interpret every challenge as disrespect. Strong leaders understand that intelligent disagreement can strengthen organizations. I respect employees who can speak honestly, challenge ideas respectfully, and think independently while remaining committed to the mission. Those individuals are often more trustworthy than people who constantly agree publicly while resisting execution privately. Real loyalty is not blind agreement. Real loyalty is commitment to vision even when difficult conversations happen. Leadership reflection. Healthy disagreement strengthens vision when loyalty remains intact. 8. Alignment is essential for execution. Still, leadership must maintain alignment. Organizations cannot function where everyone moves in different directions. Once decisions are made, teams must commit fully to execution. Internal politics destroy organizations faster than competition does. Many companies are weakened not by external enemies but by internal division, ego battles, lack of trust, and inconsistent standards. Leadership reflection. Unity accelerates execution. Division destroys momentum. 9. The crisis of commitment in the modern workforce. Another major issue affecting today's workforce is the decline of commitment. Many people desire rewards without discipline. They want influence without sacrifice, recognition without consistency, and success without structure. Modern culture often glorifies quick results while ignoring the years of repetition, discipline, correction, failure, and persistence required to build meaningful success. People speak constantly about goals and dreams, yet many are unwilling to develop the habits necessary to achieve them. Leadership reflection. Success is earned through discipline, not desire alone. 10. Discipline is more reliable than motivation. Success is not built through motivation alone. Motivation changes daily. Real progress is built through discipline, is built through consistency when excitement disappears. It is built through responsibility when pressure increases. It is built through commitment long after emotions fade. This is why organizations must create cultures where discipline is stronger than temporary feelings. Leadership reflection. Motivation starts the journey, discipline completes it. 11. Leadership must prioritize vision over popularity. One thing I strongly believe is that leaders should not build organizations around comfort. They should build organizations around responsibility, growth, execution, and vision. Being liked is not the primary goal of leadership. Commitment to the mission is what matters most. Many people misunderstand strong leadership because they associate accountability with harshness. But accountability is not hatred. Standards are not oppression. Discipline is not abuse. In reality, standards protect organizations from decline. They create clarity, direction, and stability. Leadership reflection. Leadership is not a popularity contest, it is a responsibility. 12. Build in strong workforces. A leader's duty is larger than generating revenue. Leadership is about strengthening people so they can carry responsibility effectively. Weak workforces weaken vision. Confused workforces slow progress. And disciplined workforces destroy opportunity. This is why strong leaders continuously shape culture through expectations, communication, correction, and example. Leadership reflection. Strong organizations are built by strong cultures. 13. The future belongs to disciplined organizations. The future belongs to organizations that can execute consistently under pressure, not organizations driven by noise, excuses, or endless talking, but organizations driven by ownership, discipline, loyalty, and action. Leaders must reward initiative, reward problem solving, reward accountability, and reward people who remain committed even during difficult seasons. At the same time, leadership must never tolerate behaviors that repeatedly weaken momentum. Leadership reflection. What gets rewarded gets repeated. 14. Leadership requires courage. Every tolerated behavior eventually becomes part of organizational identity. That is why leadership requires courage. Sometimes leaders must make uncomfortable decisions to protect the future. Sometimes people will misunderstand those decisions. Some individuals may even dislike leadership because accountability exposes weakness. But leadership cannot become emotionally controlled by the desire for approval. Leadership reflection. Courage protects vision when popularity cannot. 15. The balance of great leadership. History consistently shows that the strongest organizations are built by leaders who understand balance. A balance empathy with discipline. They care about people while protecting standards. They develop employees while maintaining accountability. They encourage creativity while demanding execution. They build cultures where people feel valued but also understand responsibility. Leadership reflection. The best leaders balance compassion and accountability. Inclusion. In the end, organizations are remembered not for temporary comfort but for the strength of their culture, the discipline of their workforce, the clarity of their standards, and their ability to execute vision consistently over time. Strong leadership is not about controlling people. It is about building people strong enough to carry vision responsibly. That responsibility requires courage, wisdom, consistency, emotional maturity, and the willingness to protect the mission even when difficult decisions must be made. That is the true burden of leadership, and that is what separates organizations that survive temporarily from organizations that build lasting impact. Key quote for presentation. Leadership is not measured by how many people like you, but by how faithfully you protect vision, uphold standards, develop people, maintain accountability, and build a culture strong enough to sustain excellence long after your personal influence is gone. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.